Now that the Mueller investigation is over, Donald Trump's administration is focusing on policy, or at least focusing on eliminating policy. Now, the president is now actually taking aim again at the Affordable Care Act. Now, this is following a court ruling that said that the removal of the individual mandate actually makes the law unconstitutional. And since that court decision, the Department of Justice is now basically trying to use that to get the whole law scrapped. Now, that would mean, of course, what little we have gotten from the ACA in progress would be gone. That means protections for pre-existing conditions, tax credits for lower and middle class insurance buyers, expanded state Medicaid programs to the poor, gone. All that. What good the ACA brought us, and it did bring us some good, would be eliminated. Well, of course. Now, to show how bad this would be, Nicholas Bagley, University of Michigan law professor and expert on the healthcare law, wrote an article at the Incidental Economist that said basically, quote, "The notion that you could gut the entire ACA and not wreak havoc on the lives of millions of people is insane." I would agree with that. They said the ACA is now part of the plumbing of the healthcare system. Now, some of you might be saying, but Jeff, if you're against that, then how can you argue in favor of a single-payer system? That will also destroy private insurance. It'll destroy our system. Now, first off, if you're making that assertion, then you are false. Because, and the reason I bring that up, of course, is that there are some people that are actually making that have made that argument against single-payer. Oh, but it would end private insurance, and then it would just throw millions of people off insurance right now. Hillary Clinton and Chelsea Clinton have actually made that argument before. So they actually made that in debates against Bernie Sanders. And so it is there, and that's why I bring it up. Now, to answer that question, no, it wouldn't throw millions of people off health insurance. It would actually have a phase-in period where more people would be enrolled into the existing Medicare program, and benefits in that program would be expanded, right? Now, it wouldn't institute a completely new system. We already have Medicare. It would add people to a program that is already wildly successful and wildly popular. So there is no, complete chaos and everybody losing their coverage. Now, the Trump plan, however, to do this, it would be chaos. It would do exactly that. He would be ripping out the current system that was built up over the years and not replacing it. Which, of course, was the plan all along. Now, Republicans, they since the ACA was even passed, Republicans have been like, I'm against Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. We got to destroy Obamacare. We got to repeal Obamacare. And then what? Now, they didn't expect that it would actually work and help get Trump elected. So when that happened, they're in a position where it's like, oh no, we actually got put into power. Now what do? We got to come up with a plan. We got to come up with a plan. We got to replace the ACA. So what do? Let's find an even more right-wing plan, than the ACA. Which again, I got to go back to pointing out that it's a Heritage Foundation plan put into place in Massachusetts by Mitt Romney. So let's be fair, right? That's what it is. And of course, again, conservative plan, very market-based. And, the only, public part of it would be to expand Medicaid. And yet Republicans are like, well, we have to go to the right of this thing. And so that's what's going on. Now, they put up their plan, and it massively failed. They were not able to repeal the ACA. They were not able to pass their own health care plan because it was deeply unpopular. And so, okay, well, after that happened, the administration said, well, we can't get rid of the health care law, but what we can do is we can use our regulatory authority to undermine that law. Well, so it's exactly what they tried to do. And in the summer of 2018, the administration decided to back a lawsuit against the Affordable Care Act that basically meant to destroy the underpinning, right? And now what's interesting about that is that that is not traditionally the position taken by the executive branch. Normally, the executive branch defends federal statutes in court, even those the president might personally oppose. But in this case, the president and the Republican Party, they don't care about precedent. They don't care about norms. They want this law gone. They want the ACA stricken from the books, scrubbed from history. And President Trump specifically wants it gone because it is President Obama's chief signature legislation. Now, luckily for the people that still do rely on the ACA, it's not going to be easy for them. Now, right now, it's currently before the U.S. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. If it gets past the Fifth Circuit, it would go before the Supreme Court. Now, the Supreme Court has already turned away two major challenges to the ACA, some of which are more serious than this. So, it's not likely to get taken up, but at the same time, who knows anymore? I don't. So, look, for me, this is why I'm against half measures. I mean, the ACA was a half measure. And I'm being super generous. Because in reality, a real half measure would have had a public option, which we did not get thanks to so-called moderate Democrats who get money from health insurance companies for their elections. That's legalized bribery, right? Now, in 2019, right, the Democrats have finally caught up for the Center American Progress saying, oh, we're going to do the Medicare extra whatever for all. That's basically a public option. It's a Medicare buy-in that keeps private insurance. Wow, you have caught up to where I was back in 2011. Congratulations, Democratic Party. I mean, come on, man. And look, as much as the ACA has helped, I benefited personally from it. I know a lot of people who have. It was always a Band-Aid. It was always very convoluted, complicated, and contrived. And it relied on so many different pieces working together, right, to be effective. And when you have something that complicated, it's pretty easy to break apart, as Republicans have shown. Like the ruling, for example, that made Medicaid expansion optional for the states. Well, that hurt a lot of people in red states who could not get access to Medicaid. And of course, you have the mandate. And of course, you also had the subsidies that President Trump has tried to roll back as well. And then you have the companies themselves, which have left a lot of these marketplace exchanges, making them either a monopoly or incredibly expensive, leaving with people very, very few choices on the exchange at all. The ACA, as it stands right now, is a mess. And unfortunately, for some of the Democrats who are like, no, I'm going to support and fix the ACA. You can't fix this. You can't fix it, but you also can't eliminate what little people have right now. So what's my solution? Well, it's the same as it's always been. Medicare for all. Open it up. Get people enrolled in Medicare. And once everybody's there, you can finally eliminate the half measure that was the ACA. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to need it. Medicare for all. It's time. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. and you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.